Who is it? All right, we're gonna get started. Okay, so we have a fairly packed agenda tonight, so I'm gonna get started right away. I'll hand it off to Rezwan for introductions.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. The first thing on the agenda would be a presentation by the UFC members, Vice Provost Joseph Orgel and Professor Nick Mainhart. So they have reached out to the SGA to help reevaluate the current core curriculum that we have, and also the learning objectives that Illinois Tech currently works through. So they're gonna go into more details, but it's basically how students are affected by the classes that are not related to their majors, and especially the humanities and social science classes, and what employers want to see in students, like the soft skills that is the reason why those classes exist. So I would like to welcome our guests. So professors.
Do we have to use the microphone?
It's for the Zoom.
Streamline, got it. I think we can share. That's not going to be a problem. We are not representatives of the UFC. Just to be very clear, we are part of the administration. Confusingly, we are both past chairs of the UFC. My position, there's no point in explaining it all, but I'm part of both parts of the government, the administration and the faculty government. Nick, I think you should present your slide and I'll follow up after you.
So as Joseph said, I used to be UFC chair right one after Joseph or two anyways. And so I've moved a little bit into the administration, although I'm probably still more a faculty member too. But part of what I do here now for the university is really sort of quality control on our product, and our product, of course, is your education, right? You guys get an education and you come here, I presume, to have a good career, to get educated in a certain area. And that's not exactly what we're looking at. Mostly, you guys think I'm an engineer, I'm a scientist, I'm computer science or something, but you also have what's called the core curriculum. And I think that part of your education is both extremely valuable and also poorly understood. And that's what we're looking to work on here. What's your understanding? These other classes you have to take, that's not your engineering, that's not your science, not whatever your major is. You guys all have to take this. You have an advisor. I'm an advisor too. I advise certain people. You have to take these other classes. And we don't want to tell you anything right today. We want to engage you to understand what is it that you understand about the core? What is it you want to get about the core? Because you essentially, you have to take these classes. Why? Do you think you get anything out of them? What would you like to get out of them? Okay. And so we would like to, we have this idea, we have a process going on called the Assessment Academy out of our accreditor, which is the body that makes sure that our education is of high quality. And we're trying to engage you. And we thought, well, we're going to survey the students. And then we thought, well, yeah, that'd be great. We could conduct a survey. We could all send all the students an email and everybody would ignore it. Because, as faculty, we get surveyed and we ignore them. And so we want to do a better job of that. We want to actually engage with you guys, and we want to hear, how would you like to engage with these other classes? Because you're going to be here, you're going to be taking them. What is it you want, right? And so up here, there's a slide that says survey, right? We need to understand, their identity of the core components. What is it? Do you guys understand? I have many faculty who don't understand what the core is. Trust me, they're engineering professors or something. They teach their engineering. They don't understand that. What are they? This is jargon in life. What are learning objectives? Oh, that really, it's like, what skills are you going to get by taking your psychology classes or your communication classes or whatever? Are they important to you? Should they be important to you? Do you see relevance of them? What would you like to learn? And then we're talking about maybe a survey, maybe some interaction. What is the best way? You guys know, we don't want to tell you. I really want to stop and last thing, a collaborative approach. That's why we're here today, enhancing your education. That's essentially my job, I think, to make sure that the education at Illinois Tech gets better and better over the time. And really, last thing, it's really a call for collaboration. What you guys think? We want to hear what your ideas. 2 minutes of ideas.
I think it's quite clear that we're not connecting with you yet. This is just a whole bunch of jargon to you. So let me put it another way. When you graduate and you get your first full-time job, do you want to be paid the average wage or do you want to be paid better? Okay, good. So if you imagine that university is a maturation house for you to be prepared for your career, it's not just having an expertise in a particular discipline that matters. What else matters to getting a better paid job? Do you have any ideas? Soft skills. It's an incredible term that nobody gets. What are soft skills? So you kind of understand or totally understand what you're saying. Everybody else has varying degrees of understanding. How about how to have a really difficult discussion without making everybody angry? Is that an important kind of skill? Oh, yeah, that could make a difference. How about how to have a difficult conversation that ends up with you being paid better at the end of it? Anytime you have to ask for a raise because you feel like you're not seen or not appreciated. So how about having some preparation to, one, take the time to adjust, to not feel angry, so you can instead have a rational conversation and understand somebody else's viewpoint, and then advocate for what you need as collaborators. Believe it or not, this has a lot to do with that. And what we're asking you is for you to collaborate with us to build the degree and professional preparation that you want. Does that sound a little bit more appealing? The learning objectives could mean at the end of a particular class, how have you changed? Have you changed in a way that demonstrates you've learned something? Not, I got an A because I got really good with prompt engineering and I paid my $20 a month for all of the extra tools for ChatGPT-4 and some of the forms that allow me to access the really cool stuff. Oh yeah, I'm also the designated dean for academic disciplines. You better believe I've been all over that. We have an array of tools that I hope you never get to understand how much attention we pay to academic honesty. And learning objectives and academic honesty, they're on the same spectrum. Because what we want you to do is be improved for your experience. And then the grading and the assessment is just a demonstration that you were improved from the experience. If you bypass that and falsely present skills, how's that going to improve your life in the long term? So these are some of the things that we're trying to connect with you. But I am definitely want to pause and hear what thoughts you have. And between the two of us, we'll make a whole person in our discussion and answer to any queries or interests that you may have. But I'll give you one example. Once upon a time, a group of students came to me and said, we want easier credits. And I said, interesting discussion to have with me about easier credits. What do you mean? I don't know. We want to do pottery class and make that earn towards our degree. It's like, how about you do pottery class and learn about classical education, historical context, and art form all at once whilst you're making pots? So, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, good. That would be this. That would be rounding out your education and giving you a broader context and understanding of what philosophy and implementation and form all mean at the same time. So, any questions for us?
tangible specifics as to how you might implement this in your future, or you're about to go into that, or yeah.
So what was the question? What was?
If you have anything specific or tangible in mind that you plan to implement in the new future to address this, or if you're going to get into that just now.
Well, you know, we have in the jargon of assessment, we have what's called a continuous improvement process. So we're supposed to be, and we do, we go through and we evaluate all of these things, all your core classes on a rotating schedule continuously. And so we're always looking to improve it. I think, yeah, so we are, and I think we've had, as perhaps you know, we've had a pretty big turnover in leadership at the university in the last few years, right? Raj, our president, is 2 years into it now, right? We've had a lot of change. And I think that the time is ripe right now. We just came out of the pandemic and we're really looking to potentially modernize the core. If you look at some of the subjects we have now, they're, you know, we could modernize the core, put it that way. So we're very open to that, to things that would be relevant to your careers. You know, and we're not only engaging with you, we're engaging with, you know, the professions, we're engaging with the industry and whatnot. What is it employers want to see? That's an equally important question, right? What do they want to see? So yeah, we're very open to things in the future.
First, I want to start off by saying thank you for coming to SGA at this late hour. I do hope that you stay actually for the rest of the meeting, but I completely understand if you don't. But I think it'd be great if you could see the student presentations later. My first question, and I have many, but I'll limit myself to one now, is, or I guess it's a remark, because you're asking for feedback from students, and so my feedback is how to get more feedback. And it's parallel processing. It's not surveys. Surveys will, you know, get the people that fall through the cracks. It's getting every faculty and admin member that, you know, may be relevant for the discussion at hand to invite a group of students, whether it's, so College of Computing has a student council. That is a great thing that already brings people that are brought in from recommendations of other people. So you bring the higher, like the most excellent students, and that you get their feedback. The other people's feedback is, you know, randomized, you know, invites into, you know, council groups or student sessions. I think a student would happily go, or maybe not happily, but many of them would go to a meeting and get their lunch paid for to engage in a discussion relevant for this. So that's it. And then the survey would just fill the gaps. And I think you have a very strong feedback from that, because survey fatigue is real.
Also, if you concentrate on one ingredient when you're cooking, you're going to be really disappointed. Do you know what I'm saying? You need a whole bunch of ingredients in a recipe to really learn about how to make a good whole. Surveys, one ingredient does not make a recipe, right? So surveys are only part of that. And I know there has historically been, by all groups, an over-reliance on surveys. They are context specific. They're specific to how people are feeling at that moment, to the events that they're experiencing, to the time of year, how much UV light they're getting, right? All of these things, or whether or not in a class survey, your instructor gave you cookies right before you took the survey. That's been statistically measured, FYI. That's been statistically demonstrated as having effect on surveys. So about 2 years ago, I ran a number of focus groups while you were online, and we had a number of discussions to define things like, what does student success mean to our students? Because it's not reduced to a statistic. And actually, it came out to a phrase that is, student success is when the student feels successful and they have a rational explanation to demonstrate why. I think that is quite reasonable on the whole, but then there's a whole bunch of specifics in there. That was 2-3 years ago. It's not good enough. We need to have that now as well. So what you're proposing is part of what we're trying to kick off again. Every few years, there's an energy and there's a momentum and there's good communication between SGA and faculty, government, and the administration. And then something happens and there's turnover and the momentum is lost. We're just trying to kick it off again and look for something more sustainable long-term. So your comments are well taken. And I hope you understand what I'm saying is, it's not like it hasn't happened before. we're re-energizing and re-engaging.
And I think we have one more question from Naeem, unless Jacob, did you have a follow-up?
Limiting the entire, like, there's only one more question left for them in general?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, you and then Naeem, but if you have a follow-up.
I do have a follow-up. Sorry. I was unaware of this. Oh, no, I'll let Nate go.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Orgel and Professor Menhart. I had one question for you. Especially in my experience, I've been on this campus for now over 4 years. I feel as though the social dynamic of Illinois Tech in terms of just interpersonal and intercommunication skills is a little bit to be desired. Like it could be better. And I think a lot of students really do struggle with some of these key areas. You have some that excel and then some that are just really not able to reach out. They're not very extroverted by nature. And I'm wondering, what is your goal or what do you plan to do to try and reach these students who are definitely in dire need of these resources and will struggle if they do not obtain them by graduation?
Yeah.
And attempt to work in any modern work environment without them.
So I published a paper on this recently, specifically about how emotional intelligence and learning how to engage with your emotional intelligence demonstratively improves your cognitive performance, how it helps your grades, and how it helps your professional placement. And then there is all of the other intangible benefits, you know, along with soft skills. I don't know, how do we put it? Like being happy? I think that's a really good aspiration to have. How about being okay with not being okay as a short-term existence, so you can get to the point of how about we help each other feel better? So part of what you're describing in terms of our engagement with that, probably more engaged than it's immediately obvious. My group has trained about 1,000 students in 3 years, about 1,000, in how to better understand their own internal emotional equilibrium and how to engage with others. Some of you in this room have been trained by my group, and some of you have gotten jobs with my group to use that training in a whole bunch of applications as ARC scholars, as SIs, as peer mentors for new enrollment students, in academic coaching, and so on. No one is pushing explicitly, hey, let's empathize with each other, because that's just a weird conversation. What they're doing is demonstrating it and trying to help you, if you're on the receiving end of this, emulate it. Because one of the things that you don't want in life, generally speaking, is an assigned personal relationship, right? Where you learn how to be a better human. It feels insulting unless you demonstrate qualities in how you go about life where people want to be like you or they want to follow your advice. So we've done a lot of work in this area and there's more to come. So we're engaged. A little premature to say much more than this, but we just no limitation on it whatsoever. And that would build a cadre of people who could go on and continue to teach those kind of things. In terms of engaging with mentoring and leadership groups, and you talk about introvert and extrovert, there's at least 20 different types of leadership that we can classify based on emotional intelligence. And being a vision setter and an influencer and an extrovert are only 2 subtypes of that. And in Illinois Tech, most people tend to be quietly focused. There is no reason why you cannot be an active observer why you can't be a leadership accountability partner, why you can't be a quiet leader with each of those qualities. We want to help you express those qualities if you want to. So if you want to, put your hand up, as it were, by sending an email, please. Send us an email. I'm easy to find. I'll try and connect you quickly with people who can help you develop in those ways. If you want to stand up a student org, I've helped a number of people stand up student organ without being involved, being fingerprintless, just by trying to help them express themselves and to say what it is they want to say of themselves. I've worked with executive leadership of this organization for more than a decade in a fingerprintless way, because my objective is to help you be more of the same. And I'm only one person amongst dozens and amongst the staff and amongst the faculty who feel that way. So tell us, we can probably connect you quite readily and quickly with people who can help. Reasonable?
Jacob, you had one point.
Okay. I had one final thing. So when you leave here, like I was under the impression that you wanted feedback and not questions. And so what feedback exactly do you want? Or like when you leave here, what would be the most valuable thing that you could hear from students that would give you a good impression of this?
Certainly, we want a connection. So we want to communicate with you on an ongoing basis. Feedback is like hit and run. What we want is stroll in and stay. So we have structures. One of them is the UFC Student Affairs Committee. You have representation. I guarantee to you, you have representation on that committee right now. And maybe they'll make themselves known so that they will enable you to communicate to them for things that are of concern to you. In this particular context, we want to start learning about things that you're concerned about and get your feedback for it.
Yeah, so, I was actually going to try and squeeze in 20 seconds at the end here, exactly on what you said. What I'm interested in particular are, a group of students from SGA, from student body. Are you interested? You have to come here. Not academic honesty rules, which are different rules, but rules about what your degree is like. What are the classes you need to take? Why interested in working on them? There must be somebody that's interested in saying, well, I have to take this class. My advisor told me. Why? Right? And is it for a reason? And I want to have a say in that reason. That's what we're interested in. Who's interested in that? And not just like give feedback and go. But I'd like to set up a SGA that even goes beyond like this year. I want a permanent thing that we have a way to have a working group kind of set up. Who's interested in that? So, talk it over, figure out who wants to do it. I'm not, every committee, I've run committees before, they all have their rules, figure out how to work. And if, somebody's interested, it's an offer. I hope you accept it.
Some of those solutions will be immediate.
Yep.
You might be surprised.
You might be surprised how. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, professors. Especially, we're really grateful that you're making us a part of this initiative that you guys are gonna have. So yeah, basically, guys, senators, especially, we're gonna over the winter and the better part of next semester will be you people who represent every college every year. Will devise a way that you are tasked in, that you will reach out to your colleges and get those feedbacks in. Okay. We'll have further discussions over the winter. But yeah, if you have classes that basically are taking down your GPAs but that are not part of your engineering courses, that's where these things come in, to put it bluntly. Okay. So yeah. So okay, moving on to the next part. Derek,
If you guys want to come on forward, I'll pull up your PowerPoint here. We have a presentation for the Students for Justice in Palestine today.
Thank you all for coming. I want to begin with telling we are trying to help represent our own people. And Juman will start going into the Palestinian people specifically, give them the representation that this campus so proudly promotes. And here we have a lot of people on our right and our left who have come here in support of our situation. If they would like to stand up just to show their support. Oh, hands up, sorry. If they would like to put their hands up, show their support of many people. And there are many more who couldn't come, and we want to thank all of them, particularly for helping us set up this presentation, for showing their support, and hopefully by the end of the presentation, you will all understand what we are trying to petition for.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jumana, and as an IIT student, I find it crucial that IIT creates a community that values and respects all of its members. As President Raj has said, our whole community is committed to deliberate and meaningful work to promote a diverse and inclusive environment that enables everyone to reach their full potential. As president, I am committed to the principle that every voice should be heard, every culture should be respected, and every identity should be honored. IIT features a campus with students from 89 different countries and all 50 states, one of those being Palestine. But unfortunately, what about us? Herman Hall demonstrates a variety of flags in order to serve as a powerful symbol of diversity, inclusivity, and unity. IIT prides itself for being a melting pot of cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives, but unfortunately only for specific countries. So I pose my question again, what about us?
Palestine has existed for a very long time, even going as far back as the Iron Ages, with over 1 million people documented living in that area. The area specifically, the southern Levant region of West Asia, a former Ottoman territory. And in this region, we had all sorts of people living in it. We had the Canaanites, we had the Philistines, and the Israelites, all leaving the mark in the area. A very, as you can see here, a very big population from all of them. And let's go for a little ride and explore what it is that this country has to offer, what it is that its historical significance, its cultural significance, and the cuisine, just showing you the things that people there are proud of. So one is obviously the historical significance. And here we can see that Jerusalem is historically significant for a lot of people, for the three major Abrahamic religion. You have the Western Wall, you have the Church of Holy Sepulchre, you have the Dome of the Rock, you have Al-Aqsa Mosque, among many other smaller religious sites for all these three major religions. These are sacred sites that draw people from all around the world, and a very important historical significance for the people that are there. And additionally, there are traditional arts. You have embroidery, as you can see on the right. You have pottery, and you do have weaving as well for rugs, for dresses. In fact, for a lot of weddings, even nowadays, you'll see a lot of women will be embroidering their own patterns onto the dresses for very close relatives that they are going to. So these are traditions that are still taking place here today. And additionally, you have very beautiful landscapes. You have a lot of coastal lines, you have mountainous regions, you have landscapes that are populated with olive trees, fig trees, pomegranate trees, a lot of different plants and fruits and vegetables that are grown on these lands in order to create a very beautiful place. And as you can see, the geography is very diverse. It's even hosts the Dead Sea, the lowest place on planet Earth, very salty water that anyone can go and essentially flow effortlessly. So even the Dead Sea itself is a very big tourist attraction for many people. And that brings us to the cuisine. So the cuisine is a fusion of a lot of different Middle Eastern flavors. Here you can see lots of spreads. Those are very popular there. And with hummus, olive oil, a very central part is the olive oil that is squeezed fresh from the olive trees that are implemented there. The olive trees that are grown there, they are collected, harvested, and then they are squeezed. And that is a very big source of pride for many Palestinian people. And all of this comes just to show that Palestine and Palestinian people is a place with a history, is a place with its own food and its own culture, and one that deserves to be represented by everyone else, just like we have in Herman Hall.
Palestine has faced challenges due to political conflicts and has undergone many periods of unrest for its residents. Despite these challenges, the people of Palestine have shown remarkable resilience in preserving their culture, identity, and traditions. So in summary, Palestine is a land of captivating beauty with a rich history and a vibrant culture. The challenges it faces should not overshadow the resilience and culture that makes Palestine truly a remarkable place. Those of us have shown up here are not the only ones who believe that the Palestinian flag should be included in Herman Hall. Over 1,000 other people agree. We have started a petition that was sent out to IIT students, and these are some quotes from some feedback that we got. Palestine and the Palestinian people deserve to be recognized. Another quote says, every student should be able to feel included and represented. If not, you are trying to erase his or her history and identity, and that is unacceptable in any place, much more so in an educational setting and institution. Another reads, if IIT represents all cultures of the world, then it's common sense to place flags of cultures/countries displayed. That's the strength of IIT. The last quote includes, the inclusion of the Palestinian people and culture is necessary. When this issue was brought up in private to me, with me personally in a meeting with Dean Stutz, I quote her words on her response where she said, the reason the flag isn't hung up is not an easy conversation to have. The United Nations does not recognize Palestine as a country, and that is our guideline in posting and hanging all of the flags. The reason we follow that particular group and rule is because we receive federal funding, and in order to receive federal funding, you have to be in line with some of these policies. When I received this feedback, I decided to dig into it myself and dissect her words a little bit. I reached out to CARE Chicago, which is a nonprofit civil rights and advocacy organization, and I was connected with Philip Robertson. He's a practicing civil rights attorney. He wrote to me, and I quote, please note that there are many countries which do recognize Palestine as a state, although the US is not one of them. Given the widespread recognition by the many G20 countries, as well as the United Nations, you may be able to make an argument that such international recognition is basis enough to including the Palestinian flag. This email here is Philip confirming that Palestine is indeed recognized by the United Nations. Now I wanted to look into the second half of her response, which included the regulations that needed to be followed in order for the school to receive federal funding. So on the US Department of Education website, it reads that programs or activities that receive federal financial assistance must comply with Title VI, Section 504, the Age Discrimination Act, and finally Title IX. All of these rules and regulations do not include anything about flags that are allowed to be hung on campuses. Now, perhaps I thought I may be reading the website wrong, so I decided to give the Board of Education a call. And we would like to play a recording of the response that I got.
So we're the Department of Education Office for Civil Rights. Specifically, what we oversee, so OCR has so we're the Department of Education Office for Civil Rights. Specifically, what we oversee, so OCR has specific guidance to oversee the laws that we specifically enforce. Right? So we only enforce specific laws. Generally, there isn't a, there is no Civil Rights Act of flags or anything like that. There's no such thing as like laws specific to flags. What I think you're maybe touching on is like just the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So there's Civil Rights Act law that say that that specifically OCR enforces that says you're not allowed to discriminate on race, religion, sex, disability. But I'm not sure what your school is citing. The only thing that I would that our office would be able to do is, so we would have jurisdiction of the school receive federal funding. So that sounds like they do. What school is this? This is Illinois Institute of Technology. Yeah, so we would have jurisdiction because they receive federal dollars. But you would have to file a discrimination complaint if you feel that the university's rules or the college's rules are violating. So in this case, it would be discrimination based on race or national origin. I'm not aware of any rules that by the federal government, right? There might be rules, I don't know that they're governed by other agencies, but by the federal government, I'm not aware of any rules that prohibit them from, or not just prohibit them, but that maybe guides their conduct as to the hanging of flags.
So we also wanted to mention that this was not the first time that this issue has been brought up to administration. We were previously promised that the flag would be hung up with no followed action.
And to continue off of that, this has been an ongoing process. This isn't the first time that we have tried to hang the Palestinian flag in Herman Hall among all the other flags for that equal representation. And this has been an ongoing process with previous students for 5 years. In fact, even before there was a director of campus life, Rachel, she left. Even before Rachel, there was another one that students at that time were speaking to. They began starting conversation. That director left. So they turned to the SGA. There were a few conversations within the SGA, but that ultimately didn't result in any real progress. So then they went and made a Facebook post on the IIT Facebook. And over there, they got reached out by some people, and one of them being Rachel. There was a back and forth with Rachel for quite a while until we got this promise while she was talking with a few others. There were some issues that came up, and she was very helpful in helping us try to figure out those issues. But ultimately, as things started progressing, those people ended up leaving. As you're well, Rachel has left along with a lot of other people in OCL within the SGA that we were speaking to previously. Many of them have left, leaving us with no tangible results. So we are here with you today, and we're asking SGA and IIT, will you uphold your commitment to inclusivity and representation for all students on campus, including us Palestinians? Thank you very much.
Old enough to actually remember some of these things. The director of campus life prior to Rachel was Patrick Fina. He left at about the end of my freshman or beginning of my sophomore year, but it was in the 2020s. It was a good little time ago. Just so you know, there was an interaction you all may not be aware of. I'm not sure if anyone else in this room was here for it, but PSAC, as recently as I think the semester ago or two, actually advocated to put the Palestinian flag up in Herman Hall, and we were actually told by the president of the university, Raj was actually the president at the time, the exact same response that Dean Setz had given us. So we were shot down there too, but that was another attempt, just so you have the full record. But that did happen very recently too. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I just
Corey, did you have something to say?
Yeah,
You
I
have
had something.
1 minute. We're on a timetable.
All right, we're good. No, I just wanted to say one thing. This is not me representing the Student Government Association. This is me representing myself sitting on the National Executive Board of the National Lawyers Guild, the largest collection of public interest lawyers and law students in the entire United States. I just want to say that we support you, and you can reach out to anything on legal matters issues. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for the amazing presentation. I also wanted to thank you for your support too. I also wanted to tell everyone that this SGA supports, represents, or we're supposed to represent each and every voice on this campus, right? So it is really imperative that the administration takes notice that some of our students are felt left out through this thing. And especially because Illinois Tech advertises and we pride ourselves as such a diverse college with the students from all over the world, that this they should really look into this. And I understand that it is complex from their side, but they also have the students also have a right to have this, and they have a right to advocate for the students themselves. They also have to represent us. So I urge the university administration to have a conversation and give a solution to their demands. I also want to address a broader issue today that are outside our campus borders. I want to address the conflicts that's been going on in Palestine and Israel. I understand that this has made it's been very hard for people within this campus, the students, and it has caused a lot of divide. But I want to tell you that during these hard times, we also have to have empathy for one another, and that we shouldn't be swayed by these narratives that people want, that we shouldn't look at information, or we should raise awareness by using our social medias, but we should always verify those informations. And we should only put those in to raise awareness and not to have emotional reactions from other people to garner hatred towards one another. Okay? Being hateful to us on this campus does not benefit any side. So we have to look past all the emotions, look at the facts, and address the core problems. No governing body on this planet is exempt from scrutiny or criticism, okay? So, but being said that, we should be absolutely careful that we do not do anything that incites hatred, like Islamophobia or anti-Semitism on this campus. That we should be together. If we show a place of unity, then things that have been happening toward the nation, where people were getting harassed or shot because they were kafiyas or yarmulkes, that is not going to be happening on this campus. If anyone does intentionally incite this kind of things on campus, the SGA does not stand up for them. Okay. So thank you so much for the amazing presentation. I hope everyone keeps in mind that whatever you do share, that is really verified, and it's only so because that you show we care for the students and our peers. Last of all, thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a great finals week. I hope you have enough energy to go through your finals and have a great winter break. Thank you.
All right, and with that, we're going to move on to our exec reports. Do I need to update this?
I'll just repeat that just for the people in the live stream. Not many updates for public safety. We went on a walk with admin before this, and we basically relayed the feedback from a previous walk we did a couple weeks ago. And I think that went really well. Admin was quite pleased with the feedback that we provided, and they definitely are working on improvements that we highlighted. In terms of actual public safety stuff, I'm planning to do a lot next semester. So make sure to check the channel, Discord. The mic's cutting out. Is that my fault or? Yeah, just keep up with the public safety channel of Discord, and look out for that report on the camera system and the first aid kits that public safety have. That should be coming during winter break. So that's all I got.
Any update?
I got nothing. The downtown's crazy with exams right now. Have a good one.
Thank you. Jacob?
Oh. Hello? Oh boy.
Okay. Jacob.
Hello, I actually don't need my computer. A document just got passed around to a lot of you. This is weird. This looks like a classroom. Anyways, documents getting passed around right now on the founding mission and establishment of the SGA Committee on Research Affairs. I just encourage you to look through it to get a better context of what the future and current situation and state of the research committee is. Because later I will be presenting on turning it into a standing committee of the student government. And so I hope that the document that's being distributed justifies that. I also just want to announce that the SCRA mentorship program is beginning. And so that's going to be connecting with alumni, and it's being shared on LinkedIn right now. And it's also on Instagram. And it's just to connect with alumni and advanced students, to have them connect with younger students, both PhD, masters, everyone else, to be guided through their academic, particularly their research journey. That's all. If there's any questions about the document as it's being passed around, you can ask me now. What? Okay, or you can ask me when I'm actually presenting the amendment later on. That's all. Are there any questions? I don't think so. There would.
Okay, everyone. You're going to be hearing a lot from me tonight. Okay, so first off, if you're in the engagement committee, oh, I have 3 pages. If you're in the engagement committee, please meet me for 5 minutes after the meeting. I just need 5 minutes of your time. You're fine. I know what you want. Don't worry about it. So we have over 10 events planned next semester. Still working out budget details, but they are going to happen. They are going to happen, and I want to make sure of that. Climate survey has been slightly delayed until next week due to exams. I was planning on passing it out this Friday, but I do have a lot of exams that I need to take care of, and I want to make sure that this climate survey is as in-depth as possible. Social media, TikTok is being restarted starting next semester, but we sort of had a little jump start today or yesterday when I posted Joseph's funeral video. If you haven't seen that, it's absolutely glorious. And the Instagram is gaining traction. We're close to about 900 followers. So if we could get people to start promoting that, that'd be great, because the more followers we have, the more attention we're going to get and the more people we're going to be able to engage with. And I also need, you don't have to be part of the engagement committee, but I do need help with the Illinois Tech student server on Facebook, the ITSC. So if you have any time on your hands and you have Facebook, please let me know. I'd love the help. I get hundreds of requests every day to join that thing, and I cannot manage those requests by myself. And finally, I'm looking for graphic designers who are willing to help me create templates for next semester. Projects. So the things that I'm going to be working on over the winter break with my committee is going to be the newsletter, hopefully a WIIT show newsletter. If you want to inquire about that, go to Corey. I am going to be working on getting a segment on WIIT. And then 2 more social media accounts. While we do have the ITSC, it turns out SGA does not have its own Facebook account. So we are going to create one. It's very simple because I can literally just post everything from Instagram on the Facebook immediately. I can just connect them. And then finally an X/Twitter account. And then for the engagement committee, some procedural updates for my engagement people. I'm going to start requiring bi-weekly reports from the engagement senators starting next semester. And tabling will be subject focused. So each week or each time we have tabling, it'll be focusing on a specific subject that we want to cater to. So for the first month, we're going to be catering to what the UFC had presented, or what Dr. Orgel and Dr. Menhart had presented today, which is the core curriculum evaluations. And yeah, cheers for that. For spring 2024, if you are interested in tabling, please let me know before the start of the semester. And then website updates. We have a bunch of new links and resources available on the research page. And I need all photos and bios by next week, end of next week, because I'm still missing people. If your name is up there, you need to give me that stuff. Some of you just have photo next to it. That's all I need. I just need your photo, not your bio. So if you see your name up there, you know who you are. You know what I'm asking for. Thank you very much. Also, the entire judicial board. I forgot to include them. But yeah, that's it from me. Otherwise, have a wonderful break. Good luck on your finals, and I'll see you next semester.
Chartwell's asked me to share this with you guys. This is my last FAB meeting, so just because not everybody reads their emails, this went on an email. Finals week, so meal plan ends December 9th. So if you're staying over campus, your meal plan does not exist. However, you can't. They are working on condensing the commons into pod 1 exclusively for over winter break, and then you will be able to purchase your meals individually during winter break if you're staying on campus during that time. They said that they may also be doing something with Center Court as well, where just like grab and go stuff, where like they kind of have that one area where you can just like buy prepackaged stuff. You might be able to do that. They haven't completely worked out the details. But 4th through the 7th, pretty standard hours that they're going to have. The 8th are closing a little bit early, and then the 9th is the last day that they have open. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're here during finals week, and if you're here during winter break. Your meal plans will return on January 3rd if you have one for the spring semester. But between December 10th and January 2nd, there will be no meal plans. If you're eating on campus, then you will have to buy each individual meal or provide for yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols, for mentioning that, as that was one of my bullet points. And TGFE, which means thank God for Elio for making my slides seem short today. Just a note, we have the final RHA meeting of the year of the semester. I just want to say thank you to everyone for, if you have attended any of them. We have done one every week. We have not done an RHA meeting every week. Like, I don't think ever. We have not done this meeting in a semester ever. So we've gotten through, I think, upwards of 12 in this semester. So thank you so much. We've had a unique person every time. This one's going to be from the CARES director, Mel, who will be going over the incident report process. We're working on getting people for next semester's slate of RHA meetings already. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're also working on better advertisement. I'm working with our in-house graphic designer, Joseph, who is over the Public Safety Committee, specifically regarding a new look for RHA, which will include the letters HA. Yes, will. So we will be releasing that in next semester's communications and in next semester's postings, where we will be more transparent via advertisement of what meetings we're going to have each month. And there will be a slate that will be updated across all the residential communities next semester. I am aiming for that, so that becomes a standard practice and people know how to join and know what's going on and can see it in their own communities. So that will be happening next semester. Do stay tuned for that project that will be happening over winter break. Once again, please take heed of the winter break housing guidelines. The commons hours, as Andrew mentioned and had the wonderful graphic. I'm just going to go back to it right quickly. Once again, note that come December 9th, most all except for the commons will be closed, and the commons will have very limited options, and your meal plan will be over until January 3rd with limited housing, with limited meal plan options. And then come the start of the semester, will probably be back to a full continuous service. So just once again, keep that in mind. If you are not a spring resident, note that you will need to be out, I think, the 10th of December by noon, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure that you work with your RA and go through the closing process. If you have to, if you're not a spring resident or in a total academic year resident, you need to make sure you are moved out at that time. So yeah, make sure you communicate to your RA about that. And then lastly, the RA application. Once again, the info session process has already concluded. If you're looking to put forth your RA application, I would say get it in sooner rather than later because there are things that require other people, recommendations and whatnot. Make sure you start on that if you haven't already, and make sure you get it in as soon as possible so that you remain eligible to continue forward with your academic process, application process. But if there are any questions, please let me know. Are there any questions about any of this stuff up now? Okay, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for being engaged in the Residence Life Experience. This has been our first full semester as a subsidiary of SGA as well. And I think it has been extremely successful in communicating about residence life issues and getting people to come between both meetings. We've averaged about upwards of 20 or 30 people per meeting, and I'm really proud of that. So thank you.
I just have two very brief topics for you today. The first is about our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Nathan. Nathan has officially resigned his position as Vice President of Academic Affairs. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight to deliver his resignation, but we will be working to fill his position over the winter break and into the new year. Nathan worked very hard in his position. It just came down to a work-life, school, everything balance. And he decided that student government was no longer a fit in his schedule. I think I speak for everybody when I say we truly support Nathan in his future endeavors, and we thank him for his service to student government over the last semester. That's just a point of information for everybody. And then my second thing is something kind of cool that's going on. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Yeah, I can never remember Arboretum. But the school got a $2 million grant to turn the space between Herman Hall and the Paul V. Galvin Library into a natural prairie. And they broke ground just the other day by planting a few trees. So if you see those new trees right by the library, it's the start. Rezwan, did you have anything to say? No. Okay. Any senator reports tonight? Anybody who would like to speak for open floor? Eric.
Is this on? Okay.
I'm going to be standing here.
I ignore your recommendation, Corey. I am sorry. All right. Once again, here we are. I've spoken a lot before, so I won't yap for too long. However, I'm not here today to speak about EEPI or the continued support of Zionism by our campus admin. Rather, I'm here to talk about our Dean of Students, Dean Stetz. We hope that someone in such position, where in the name you would assume they would be proactive in helping students, would do just that. Rather, it seems quite contrary to reality. Students and staff, not just from our year, but many years into the past, have levied complaint after complaint about her apathy towards students, the inability to trust her, and the feeling of being pressured into acting certain ways according to her dictations. Nearly a year ago, since Nova's fiasco when he was, which was akin to a witch hunt, students, including myself, has felt—
Eric, okay. I think this is a really private conversation. I don't think we should say this, especially because she's not here.
It's open floor, and I think that her not being here is exactly kind of important in part of the speech.
Yes, I was gonna cancel.
I say we let him speak. I'm gonna continue speaking.
Keep it short, but yeah, it's really long. Do not insult anyone, okay? I'm gonna keep private conversations private, okay?
Let me cook. All right, can I talk now? Are we all good?
No insults.
I don't think there are any in here. Where was I? All right. Nearly a year ago now, since the Nova fiasco, which is akin to a witch hunt, students, including myself, has felt as though the school is not open to free speech. That speaking your mind is simply disallowed, especially in the context of SGA and SGA adjacent settings.
For months, the mere mention of Nova, even if disconnected from AEPI, was entirely taboo. Now, even beyond the realm of SGA, myself and others are facing similar issues with her overzealous and heavy-handed abuse of power against students speaking freely, specifically on private Instagram accounts unaffiliated with the university. In regards to my statements about her, this spans beyond AEPI and beyond Nova, but rather her actions throughout her career here at IIT. It expands into her role in weakening OCL by removing Nova from the Senate and being a contributor to Rachel's departure, as well as overstepping SGA in matters which she does not have a say in, among much more. With SJP's previous presentation, it also becomes abundantly clear that either Dean States could be flagrantly incompetent or that she potentially has a bias against Palestinian students. In either case, is this the sort of dean of students we wish to have? Furthermore, this heavy-handedness she exhibits is particularly concerning for international students. While myself and Nova are not among this group, students who are can have their ability to study in the United States at risk for these infractions. If she demands the respect of the student body, she must earn it. The meek shall inherit absolutely nothing at all, and if she would stop being so feeble, she could have much more. I have taken hours of my time doing homework, studying, working, and yet here I am able to carve out time to have this speech and speak out against this, trying to sort out this fiasco and put together a speech. However, despite a break and 2 weeks notice following Elio's speech at the end of last session, Dean States couldn't do so much as offer a statement or offer her time to be here.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
I have one more paragraph.
I think we've.
The students of IIT demand that Dean States.
No, that's. Yeah, no, the students of IIT do not demand anything. Okay, you speak for yourself, not IIT.
All right,
Eric.
It's okay. Thank you. Yeah, say it. Yes. No,
It has been done.
Yeah.
Joseph, did you have a point of order?
That is part of the plan that's taken. That is something I have to be working on. Okay, great.
Guys, we don't stay here, we don't come here every week just to trash on someone, okay? If we have problems with her, we can literally complain about her to administration. They're gonna do something, okay? Saying this literally defame, like do not have evidence of anything, okay? There's like rumors and stuff. You can go to administration, give a complaint, they'll do something about it. This is not a place to harbor hatred.
Are you going
Okay.
to talk about this tomorrow at your meeting with the president?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And yeah, senators, you also have to understand that this place is not to like trash on someone, okay? Especially someone who's our mentor. Okay, no matter like people can have mistakes, we can have a conversation with them. It's not like she came here and spoke against like us, okay? And someone standing here on open floor can just say that, oh, everyone thinks this way, okay? Yeah, so we have to do our duty. We have to cut people off if they don't represent SGA, what it stands for. Okay, is that clear? Yeah, thanks.
Would anybody else like to speak on open floor? Dustin. Oh, I'm sorry. Dustin, will you wait for just
I did just want to say, due to the mention of SGA adjacent organizations and meetings and free speech not being available at those, we advocate for any free speech or complaints and have had many of them at our RHA meetings. And I completely invite everyone to come to them and speak their mind freely. And we have not gotten in the way of this. So if there are any complaints or evidence regarding RHA specific infractions to your freedom of speech or you feeling constrained in those meetings, please see me directly and I will address them directly to you. I've been to all of them in about the past 3 years. So if there are any specific things, just let me know and we'll make sure to clear that up for you. Okay.
You can go ahead. Dustin.
Thank you all. So to address what just happened, I'm keeping it civil. Don't worry. So yes, Eric has mentioned that this keeps becoming an ongoing discussion. This keeps getting brought up, keeps getting addressed, and no progress is being made on it. If SGA truly stands for like the rights of the student, stands for free speech, we need more than just words. We need action. And I fully support Eric in making a resolution regarding this. I fully support him in continuing to fight this blatant disregard for freedom of speech, for the rights of our students. And I call on SGA to assert that, to assert their position as representing the students, as representing their freedoms, as that sort of thing. So that's all I have to say.
Any other open floor items today? No. Okay. We'll move on to the beef. Yeah, sorry. I switched the order. Okay. You'll be second. Everybody's got stuff going on. Hey.
Sorry for the sudden switch up. I have an exam tomorrow at 9 in the morning. So I am presenting a quick resolution to the Senate. It's actually, I think, the only resolution this entire Senate period that deals with asking the administration to do something. Which I just as a quick aside, I wanted to say this on open floor. We are a student government. Maybe next semester we can get to the business of passing actual resolutions. I'm sure the executives would quite appreciate that, and I'm sure y'all are tired of reading 20 different fucking resolutions from me. Sorry for the language. What we're asking for is the administration to install bike racks inside the downtown building. Quite a lot of law students come into downtown Chicago. The area we're in is by Union Station. Union Station has a lot of thefts. This is something that students have come to me. They worry about. They have asked me to bring this to your attention. I would like to ask you to vote yes on just asking the administration to install bike racks inside the downtown campus, which is something that's cheap. It's very easy to do, and it's something they already did and they tore them out. It would take 5 seconds. So just please ask yes, and the executives will take this resolution to administration. Thank you. For people on Zoom, the question is there a place for the bike rack inside? Yes, historically on the concourse level, which is this basement level below the first level, there was a place to put in bikes. That was there up until last year. They removed that to make space for catering tables, which could be put literally anywhere else. They removed them because not a lot of people are taking advantage of, but a few students did, and they're very worried about it because there was at least one bike theft. Because it's downtown Chicago. It's just what can happen.
Yeah, I would like to point out that whereas you said that your presentation would take 5 seconds, it took 82.59 seconds, which is 1,551.8% longer than what you said.
If that's a reason to vote no, go for it.
Any other questions for Corey? Any discussion points? Tessa?
Okay. I'd like to urge my fellow members to vote yes on this. It's a very simple resolution. Yeah, that's it.
Do I have a motion? Second. Okay.
Second.
Perfect. Bolu, will you release the bike rack voting form? Jacob. You have not been recognized. What?
Yeah, no, I don't have that. Okay, I'm not going to present it. I'm not going to present this presentation to a room of 20. Wait, hold on. No, this is the wrong presentation. No, I did make a presentation. I'll show you. It's for the research amendment. I think those that care have seen it already. Those that don't probably haven't. No, I don't care what a presentation is. Sorry, I copied the wrong thing. Oh. Anyways, I'll just show you my presentation, but I'm not going to present it. I did just tell Derek though that he should have a sign up form for senators that counts attendance. So if you don't sign out at the end, then you are considered absent. Yeah. So if that happens, thank me. Yep. Here's my slideshow. This is what research is. Who research is, how is it different from everything we have now? It's not different. Here's where it falls under because it's not different. So why are we going to make it even though it's not different? Well, because students don't need these things. If you want this slideshow, I'll put it in the chat right after I'm done. But here's the structure as it is now. Here's the structure upon the creation of a committee on research affairs. And so these are the main points that it brings up. That's all I'm going to bring up. It's going to go into the voting thing. I encourage you to vote yes. I'm here just for questions if you are going to vote no and you are open-minded enough to change your opinion. That's it.
Any questions? Okay. Is there a second to move into discussion? Elio.
So I have read this proposal twice, 3 times, and skimmed it an additional time. And I told Jacob that initially I was not in support of this. And I told him he had to convince me. And I'm going to be real with you. This convinced me for several reasons, but the biggest reason is the fact that this university is starting to approach research in a very good way. We have started to acknowledge it little by little. I mean, one of our biggest breakthroughs recently that I saw at the UFC last semester was us joining the Semiconductor Network here in the Midwest. That is probably one of the larger research foundations that we have joined in recent years. And so I think being able to have a dedicated committee to research would benefit a lot of student researchers on this campus because it would be able to provide us with larger resources and more ways to reach out to our students. So I would urge you to vote yes on this.
Just as a point of information for those of you who haven't read the fine print, it's quite a long document. All of the documents that Jacob has sent out. I think that you should probably read or at least skim all of them before making a decision on this. It's not a small change to student government. It adds a sitting committee and a sitting vice president. So it's not something that you guys should be taking lightly when you're making your decision. And just as another point of information, this will require a 2/3 majority of the Senate to pass and become an amendment of the Constitution. So just all pieces of information that I think you guys should have. Are there any other discussion points for this?
Just some practical questions. Will this require a budget? It sounds like I just read through it. It sounds like an extremely ambitious plan. It would be difficult for a university faculty committee to sustain such an agenda with paid faculty members and staff members to support such an ambitious enterprise. So I think it's extremely powerful. I wonder if this should be considered more broadly and approach whoever I'm new to the university and I don't know the structure of this, but it seems to me this would be something that would be a part of the infrastructure of the university as a whole. And it would be very difficult to sustain from a student government perspective. And I appreciate all of the knowledge and thought that went into this. And I wonder if it's dependent on one person. Is it sustainable beyond an initial enthusiasm period? Let's say you graduate, et cetera. So I'm questioned about sustainability and the reality of implementing such a ambitious agenda. And I think it is extremely ambitious. So I'm proud of you for putting it together. I just have those basic fundamental questions.
Do I respond? Okay. My response is to refer to other universities such as Case Western Reserve, Brown University, and a multitude of others that have programs that are led not just by students, but by undergraduates. And so it's these undergraduate programs that host a lot of the same things. I think what's unique to this is that it's program regarding research opportunities and how it's hosting those. Everything else, though, that you've seen on the document is elsewhere is successfully done at other universities. And with respect to that, I think, that's a concern that, or that's a problem that kind of permeates across the university, and that students are viewed as, unable to maintain these things. But, we have Sudipta, who's leading a 4-person team to develop a website. I know 3 people that are in the committee that could replace me, if I were to just, die today. And so if, I think right now at its foundation, we have, a succession structure. And we have people that are leading initiatives that they can, maintain. And, Sudipta it's not just, people in his year, but it's people, from just that express interest. And so because we have already seen over 50 students express interest from one email announcement, I think that is kind of a testament to its longevity and student interest in maintaining this program. What's similar to the thing that I mentioned that is not done by students is the MIT UROP, which was founded in 1969, Undergraduate Research Opportunities Platform. And so we're kind of expanding that into the Student Opportunities Platform. And so, yes, I think in the structure that I have set up in that document, it is strong enough to lay a foundation for students to lead this, of course, with faculty and admin support.
I'd just like to say that as it is, it does not seem that the current committee is as integrated into SGA as many of our other committees. And that raises a little bit of concern for me because having a standing committee that is not entirely integrated into SGA as our current standing committees are, would be problematic for me to be able to support this standing committee.
I did just have one other point I'd like to bring up, is that with this, while I do believe research is a very important thing, because that's how we move on and we develop and we make this world better every day, is through research and more research. The way that our SGA is set up currently is that we have a vice president of academic affairs. And I'm concerned that, not necessarily concerned, but I just don't feel that we need a vice president of research affairs when we have an academic affairs. Similarly to how Joseph has his public safety committee that falls under the campus life, we don't have a vice president of public safety. Yes, it's an important issue. Yes, it's a standing issue that we constantly have, but similar to that, similar to our other committees, I don't feel that it needs its own vice president position, but everything else with this, good job on a lot of this, Jacob, and I really hope to see a lot of this does go into effect, though.
Yeah, so there has been discussion about why to include a research committee like as a separate to academic affairs. Like he just brought up the point, but I would like to elaborate on that. Like when I saw today when Nathan, the Vice President of Academic Affairs, resigned. So I believe like it's not what I believe. There's a suggestion like why don't we combine academic affairs with research affairs and give Jacob the opportunity to lead both of them as one committee as a whole. Yeah, that would be my solution.
Is Naeem? I think we're out of our 5 minutes. I'm sure there's motions to extend, so I will let this keep
Tess
going.
has made a
but-
motion to extend by 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I will second it.
Naeem, go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to say, I think once again, as Andrew said, regarding the combination of academic affairs and the Committee on Research Affairs, I think currently as things stand, it does not help that, of course, we just had our VPAA resign. And I think that position should be filled, but I think that person, whoever that person will be that takes up VPAA should continue to function in that capacity while research affairs still stays. They can collaborate, and I believe certainly they most certainly should, but they should not be like the same thing. I just wanted to say it because that's just, there's a lot more than research that academic affairs must attend to. And certainly as Jacob has professed, it's research is a very big thing that needs its own attention, love, and care. And one person can't be expected to kind of handle that. That probably should not be combined. I'm just gonna say that.
I gotta get going, but I just want to ask a quick question. Now that we have the news that VP of AA is vacant, that was a role that Jacob previously held. Would you be pursuing that role, or would you stick with this new one that you're creating essentially?
I'm not interested in the academic affairs position because I think it's unrelated to research affairs in many ways. However, I do understand that they are related.
Fair enough.
Tessa.
I would also like to note that this amendment does include a stipulation that that Jacob would be that VP. So this is also adding another member of the executive board. We should keep that in mind in this as well.
Yeah, it's a resolution, an amendment, and a nomination. So, sure. Any other points of discussion? Jacob, did you have one?
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to first address Tessa's comment as the first to speak regarding the disconnect between SGA and research. We see the research hall assembly that exists within SGA. And so the research hall assembly, where are the RHAs, Tessa? Where are the RHAs? Do we see them here? No, we don't. We don't see many of the representatives here, but still that communication is maintained. We see, and I think that we encourage actually as members of SGA, students outside of SGA to participate. So for us to have 35 students engaged in research, it's kind of unreasonable to call for many of them to hear, but there is Ishan, there is Nikhila, there is Alina, there is Sudipta, there are multiple people here that are a part of the committee, and these are many of our executives as well.
Thank you. Elio?
I'm, in lieu of this discussion, I'm going to ask that we table this until next semester.
The motion to table until next semester. Do I have a second? Do I have any opposed? Too bad. We are no longer at quorum. And so we cannot pass any more items tonight. Unfortunately, that is the thing that happens the week before finals, and that is why we were trying to get the meeting moving. You may have 10 seconds.
This will be the first thing to be presented next semester, so
there are also special meetings that occur over winter break that could be called upon. Anyways, I just want to say that, thank you to everyone that's still here. But soon I hope I will be lobbying for a sign out sheet again that will make sure that people stay here. I'm also a little bit disappointed by the number of people that are on their laptop during people's presentations, but I understand that because especially when I present, I would be on my own laptop during my presentation. Yeah, that's all.
And with that, we can no longer pass any more resolutions. We don't have anything else left on our agenda. Would anybody like to speak to their committee briefly besides Elio? You wanted to speak to your committee members briefly. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Seconded. Any opposed? All right. Thank you guys for coming. I know it's the week before finals. I figured this would happen. So thank you for being here. Good luck on finals. Don't die.